thousands and thousands and thousands. So obviously, we're not receiving that much volume for a certain product. But in child age, some days we might because of all these accidents.
We got all that plan B already.
Nice.
Your supply of baby news.
No, we got before we were at a month ago, so we had to right. The trick was I had to do diagnostics, one server, or fix it, or take it out. So that's that thing. It's like, I want to leave it here. But I needed to at least take it, and then once I did it, I very quick. I could see within a minute where that was a problem, and then I was able to restart it. So on.
So how you doing?
I got the picture going through, let's see. 2 more seconds. Let's go for the street.
I don't know Java, so that's.
Well, yeah, that's the PC, but we put them in the center or just to the side. So.
I mean, I took a look at each other and the changes that were made recently. I didn't see anything there that we might learn.
Had nothing to like those things that down.
So they have rooms down there, the presenting machines there.
Okay. Was that enough?
But it's high.
It's perfect. Oh, it's from the beginning or in.
Oh, we need secure. Let me check on
It might have more.
I know it's always the way. It's like heroin tickets and
But yes, it does say highly coincidental, so there's a good chance. That's why I think there's a good chance that this book's been there longer than that. It's only because of the high volume procedure we're not seeing it. It's possible for different years.
Well, they made a job on there.
Joe, are you close? Oh, you're here? Yeah, we're just waiting for you. We'll see you.
I did tell people this week about the gas.
It says he's here.
And I also said.
But you bring that on.
Yeah.
Like Italy, like
What's all saying?
You have to help me decide how we want to live out.
That's fine. Change this all your stuff, right? Yes. Right here? Yes, no problem.
Yeah, there's
I know. When I was they made like lesson
And I saved it, called. One of them is back to the process. On Sunday night, this is like my direct content. I was sending it to nothing.
ULL, buddy. Do we have success or no? We're trying to pump it out.
Where am I? Right.
That's so bad. It's actually trying to. Hey, girl, how you doing? Good to see you. Nothing much. I got audio, but I'm working on video, so yeah. Talk to dudes. Okay, let's get this round. Maybe you brought us lunch.
Yeah, which is this? Wait till my umbrella.
I just think it was a chair.
Oh, grab a chair. Pull it around.
This is being used.
Cal didn't put a chair there, so he didn't intend us to, there's a place for you to sit here, though. Here's your note taker.
Yeah. That's actually my note.
That's more. No, that's.
This is for, okay.
Good stuff. I just want you to do it.
We'll tighten up that. Oh, yeah.
Like this.
And, program, I think.
Hey, Callan?
Yeah, I mean, those would be, I like my but I really like those,
Okay.
I'm just going.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My sister likes the little egg Kinder eggs, and then they
Just wants to be your first man. I heard it. That's really the first man.
Yeah, I got it. Or I had it before. I just got two of them stolen.
Who else is
You started So we don't have two already, we're just gonna ask.
Who else? Wait, who else?
I don't know. He had it. And he-
No, right? I'll try.
Let's go.
And it's just, if I get a quote, I'll just pop it on.
Okay, so we have.
Some of the, I mean, I don't know, I like to say not even listed as much as camera angles. I don't know why they would have used it back in the day, especially if we record hours.
You got it. Yeah, let's explain first.
Who gets to, who decides who signs it? How it stacks better?
Okay, right now, Actually, getting some software, you know, I'm a little busy.
Okay, let's get going. So, who wants to be first?
See this?
Go on.
You are in control.
No, you're not ready, even though you've got all the judges' names, addresses, social security numbers. You're going to hold back.
Ask
Come
him,
on down.
I'm gonna say, ask who wants to be last and make them go first.
That is cruel and unusual punishment, okay?
Last should be first and first should be last. Someone said that.
Someone said that, yeah.
Anyway, I'll hand over to you, so just give your pitch.
All right. Mine is easy. I mean, like, ours is easy, so that's why I mean, like, I wanted to get it finished.
And all I ask is that you speak up to make sure we can catch you on the audio, because that's the most important thing.
Okay.
Video is secondary, audio is primary.
Okay, that's right. Okay, ours is so much simple, actually. My name is Pankaj, this is Vinod, and we have other 3 team members which are not present at the moment. But what we're trying to build is a simple web app which is called Rate Less. Basically, what it does is, especially it was designed for like country like England, where they have a open they don't have a medical system the way we have it, so it's like paid by government. So you like people pay through their taxes. So people go to the clinic and they get treatment. It was getting overcrowded. So what they started doing is like walk-in clinics in the morning, like they started 8 a.m. to 12 or 1 p.m. And as people were getting more patients were going there, the wait time was getting longer and longer and longer. So basically, person can go like 10, 11 o'clock, and like, I mean, you might have to wait for like 3 hours, which is definitely annoying for everybody. You know, you don't want to wait there. So what we're trying to create is if the patient can register or look before even goes to the clinic, visit the clinic, according to the location, where you can see the live wait time, how long it is. And if it is okay, then you can log in, register, send a request to the clinic accept the request and send it back via text message. That's where we were trying to Epiphonica, we were trying to use that one to communicate. While when the time comes close, like for example, if he's living 10 minutes away from the clinic, 30 minutes let you know, send a notification, hey, yeah, I mean, time is getting close if you want to leave and go to the clinic. So that's what it was we were trying to use. Another thing, like when he goes to a doctor sees and they want to send a prescription, so the patient doesn't have to carry the prescription, you can send straight to the pharmacy, so you can save a time over there. That's where we were trying to use boxing. So I mean, like, that's the API we're trying to use both of them. So basically, it's like try to save time and like same as usual. Today we don't have a time enough and like getting upset about like sitting in the waiting area for 3-4 hours. So this is what it was. We could not finish our whole project, so we don't have anything demo, but our idea was that, so this is what we are.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Which software did you use?
Software?
Yeah.
JavaScript. I mean, like we were trying to use
JavaScript and Java.
Did you use any?
Who's resources?
Resources.
Who's developer? Who's sponsor resources?
Sponsor resource Epiphonica and Pexio.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much, guys.
Okay, so who wants to be, come on down, guys. So don't worry, just get yourself set up. Once you're comfortable, then start presenting, okay? Because by the magic of editing, this all looks cool in the end, okay?
Just as a reminder, Tom's going to be flashing you a signal, so just so you know.
1 minute, 30 seconds, then you'll hear the buzzer go off.
I'm just checking that.
Then we get the hookup.
Then we get the-
That's why I announced it.
So, yeah, if you could stand in the middle here, because the live stream is sort of, turn that round, flip that round. That's it. So if you could stand, I know it's going to be a bit awkward, but standing in front of, that's it, between the table and the TV, it'll be easier. There you go. Perfect. You're in, you're good. Oh, no. You have to be over. That's it, yeah. Unfortunately.
Sure, absolutely.
There you go.
I don't know.
You okay? Yeah.
Okay, that's looking good. Thanks, guys. Once you're ready, just go for it, okay?
All right, so our hack is called I Attended. So the main issue that we're kind of trying to tackle is that shopping can be very inconvenient and very, very time consuming. So sometimes you may say, okay, I'll just buy it online. But then sometimes, as you can see here, the expectation does not match the reality. And then there's other people who don't go shopping often, and when they do, they expect something to be of high quality. So you may want an attendant or some high service. And basically, there's others of us that just don't like people. So I would go on and talk to one. So this is kind of a walkthrough of the tools that we're going to be using, which is Amazon Developer. So basically, we use Alexa, and we customize her to basically fulfill whatever needs they require. So you'll build your skills. You'll be able to see different sections and departments, and you can take it away to the next slide. Oh, to the video, sorry. So the video basically is kind of like a demo of what we hope to implement in the future.
It's in your room, right? Yeah.
We will. So the attendant brings the T-shirt to the customer.
Hey Alexa,
Hello, Ikram.
this shirt is not my size. Can you bring me a medium?
Oh, I see. Alberto will bring you a medium size.
So yeah.
What? Okay, so this was just a very demo how it could work. This solution actually is based on two sponsors, TADHack and TADHsck, or we work with them. Our idea would be to complete that with these two companies. Well, what we use is Alexa Pi. It's an open source project, and we installed that on our Raspberry Pi. We just set up some skills in Amazon, and what we had two options. One was sending messages to the attendant for letting him well, know when to go to bring a t-shirt of a specific size or color or wherever the client needs. And the other option was using TADHsck for adding the video call functionality for if they want to place a call from this Raspberry Pi to the attendant. So with using this, we will be able to reduce the amount of obviously attendants in a store, and also shopping racks. We would be faster attending the customers. So yeah, this is pretty much it.
Another thing we would like to add to this is just a shopping mall as a whole. We would have Amazon Web Services, and then using Amazon Developer, we will have a conversationalist bot, and then that will be in intersections of the mall where people can go to it and it can navigate where the shops are for them. So this will replace directories and maps across the malls, and then you can talk to it like talking to any other normal person, like where is the children's place, and then it will tell you where it is, and you can just go there.
And that concludes our presentation of our project. Thank you.
Any questions? None from the sponsors? Not even a thank you for the branding there? I'm going to enjoy showing this to you. Okay, that was great. Again, guys, well done. Okay, so who wants to be next? Go for it. And then, yeah, just here between the TV and the table in terms of position, so we can see it.
How much are they paying to wear the Franklin shirt for that you know, product placement in a worldwide TADHack video? What?
It's definitely worth it.
What's Franklin?
Barbecue. Barbecue in Austin.
Oh, it just burned down.
Really? One of them. One of them. Okay.
They're amazing.
Oh, yeah. He refuses to make a second one.
Was he really smoking that meat?
I don't know. 5-alarm fire. First place to the ground.
So he has a lot of burnt ends?
Many burnt ends.
Because he had his own barbecue show on PBS.
You got the right
It
combo?
was hardcore.
No, I don't.
1,000-gallon propane tanks.
I don't know how the smokers are, but like the place itself,
Display ports.
the place itself definitely burned down.
Oh, just hang a sec. You've got lightning there?
Oh, we'll look to that.
That works. Yeah, we'll get you there. Don't worry. As I said, we'll edit it so it looks like it just...
East 11th Street building. So it's back.
There you go.
I saw the
Restaurants do it. There's smoke damage. Room that has every day.
My name is Jim Morgan. I'm the only person on my team. What I've created is called Helper. And Helper is and a couple of It's meant to supplement a Red Cross type organization in terms of during a natural disaster, where services may or may not be existing or tough to come by. So essentially, it uses SMS. It's using the API Fanica SMS thing with a machine learning capability to this. So during a natural disaster, you probably may not have a great sense of what's going on, so you might be mistyping and things of that nature. It hits something called API.ai, which is a machine learning natural language capability of this. So you can type in a bunch of things. It goes through a normalization of API.ai, and then will send information back to the other SMS, the helper, the person who is going to be giving help. Because of the nature of the API, I had to kind of create a web interface that emulates an SMS conversation. But so we type in help me, and what ends up happening is that it goes through SMS message is created and sent. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the API right now, you can't get it, so I fake it. But it will pinpoint where you are, and this is the JSON response coming back from API.ai. So it just says help me, which is kind of a generic, call for help. So in the natural language processing, I actually kind of parse out what's going on, and our response is, what is the nature of your problem? It is meant to facilitate a conversation so that the people providing help, that will be providing help, will have all the information that they need. Because of the nature of this browser, I can grab the GPS information. If this was on our phone, I can grab it there. But it's like, I need help. The next question might be like, where are you located? It might also be like, what's the nature of the problem? And this is meant to kind of prioritize response efforts. If you're hungry, that's one thing. If your house is on fire, it's another thing. So it prioritizes, it's meant to prioritize response efforts. So higher things get better. And the reason why those maps are there is that we'll optimize a route for providing the widest possible.
Cool. Cool. Excellent. Any questions for Dan? If not, the judges over there, you good?
I'm good, Dan.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Dan. That was great. Nice and clear. Thanks a lot. Okay, who wants to be next? We're racing through these. This is great. Come on, guys. Don't be shy. You want to go? Come on down, guys. And he's done. As soon as you start talking, I'll begin. But you get ready first. Yeah, just get yourself set up, and you have to be on the. Yeah, it's a little difficult, but you want to be out of camera shot, unfortunately. So if you huddle in the middle here rather than over there, it helps us. Let me just take this back maybe a bit more.
This will be 1 minute. This will be 30 seconds left. The audio will be.
Before we start, if you guys can all have your phones, so that'll be fine.
Yeah.
When you're ready.
I'm not getting the display.
Okay, just hang on a sec. I'm just trying to get you. Tom?
You probably said you had a return.
Connected, yeah. Well, I can tell you what your problem is. It's a PC. You can see the PC bigots, man. 5 minutes for boot up time is perfectly acceptable. No.
We have an active Can we go next and we just transfer to the mic?
Yeah, you do that. Yeah, no worries. I know, but do you will have?
Get VGA.
I just have a USB-C.
Oh.
That's
Okay, but no worries. I mean, just try again.
okay.
And is this like a command?
Yeah, I can just get somebody else's laptop.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, no worries. Give it another go. You're rushing. Just relax.
You're a lot higher.
I know. Now
Look at the function key. Yeah, function F5 or something.
F5, function F5, consider F7, function F7.
Yeah, one of them.
To drive it. But the old beast, you gotta drive it.
Yep.
It's not auto.
Press the non-function key.
there you go.
Right next to any key.
It's not. Okay, no problem. Yeah. So, no problem. So, do we have another willing volunteer? It's your turn now. Come on, Dad.
So we kind of got a lot of through our computer. It's okay if we drag this cable kind of in front where.
Of course. I will sign it. And also I'm going to find those mortgages in my name. You got the right example now?
Put it in the room. It's not showing up
Quit sending those letters to me. I don't know the alphabet.
So we're ready.
By your phone
Ready. Okay.
Yeah, speak up.
All right. Hello, everybody. We're Virgil. We are a smarter emergency management platform for decision-making support using machine learning and real-time communication. I'm Alex Cordova.
I'm Alberto Rios.
So the motivation for our project is that you've heard it in the news. There's currently poor emergency decision-making due to lack of information on the ground and what we call the human element. So we propose a two-faceted solution. First, get decision makers the information that they need to make good decisions. And second, use mathematics to optimize scarce resource allocation. We hacked on three sponsor technologies: TADHack, TADHsck, and Fax.io. We'll go through kind of their contributions to each of the to our project. Other core technologies: we built out a custom API to support each of the three sponsored technologies, and this is a Docker Compose based deployment, so it's immediately scalable. You can kind of see our TADHsck sequencing here, but at a very high level overview, volunteers and managers sign up for the service. On the ground information gets transmitted into the system. We compute scores for each region and allocation, use simulated annealing to optimize the resource distribution, and finally redistribute that information back to the people who need it. A quick overview on the allocation optimization. We kind of came up with our own cost function and our own machine learning approach. The cost function is defined in terms of proposed allocations, social vulnerability information from the CDC, live on the ground information, and disbursement cost. We want to keep resources close to vulnerable areas. So let's go through a demonstration. That is not on the screen. So we will do this. So you can see the platform right here. You can see that we currently have computed the optimal resource allocation for a variety of different places. That's shown in our heat map right here. Now, at the very beginning, we asked quite a few of y'all to submit your information. You can see all of you have populated into our database right here. Now, what happens, now we're in the middle of a disaster, what happens if you're on the ground? We're going to submit an assessment. You can submit an assessment in 3 ways. First, you can do it through the web. Second, you can submit it through through messaging, and third, through call. Both of those are supported by TADHsck. Now, as he goes through the process of
yeah, I just sent that latest text right now.
this latest text right here is from him, Alberto Rios. You can see the timestamp right here. And then as he goes through the process of calling, this will update again. You'll see another assessment.
So this name field actually uses a Telmex like caller ID API. So that's how we can get like people's information. Like not everyone has caller ID like enabled, but I obviously do.
So you can see voice and SMS have populated. That gives us more information with which to optimize our resource allocation. So now that we've submitted an assessment, we are currently running a cron job to kind of optimize this on the fly. So one of the good things about simulated annealing is that it'll optimize on the fly. We get continuous updates of resource allocations. And so as more people give us more information, we can be more sure about what the best place to put the resources put the resources are. So now let's say that we've just had at some point in this, since it's running on a 2-minute cycle, we have updated these resource allocations. We're going to send out a blast through email, fax, phone, and text. Fax particularly because we're working with governments, and we all know what governments are like. So we're going to send out a blast, and
so now all of our judges and people that we ask for information should be getting stuff right now.
Yep. And so while that happens, you should all be checking your phones.
You got a phone call?
We can
Now
just
everyone give up. Get them. That's an email right there. That's a text right there.
Yep.
And we do send out faxes as well. So we look at the Faxio. Look at the Faxio dashboard.
And everybody is getting their calls and emails right now. So if we look at the Faxio dashboard really quick, we can see that the number has gone from 14 to 24 faxes. We've sent out faxes to everybody who was populated in the system. Some things we might want to do in the future. We've looked at, last night we kind of looked at neural networks for damage assessment. That was something a little bit beyond the scope, but ideally we'd be able to video some video damage, upload it, and then use that as information to further remove the human element. So that's Virgil.
Excellent, well done, guys.
Questions, comments?
Where do you see this, being, would this be something like a crowdsourced type thing, an open, where you have it on the internet where everybody could go?
Right. So we were playing around with that idea kind of in our heads. On the one hand, we want to keep the information as high quality as possible, so maybe limit it specifically to emergency managers. But on the other hand, crowdsourced information is so valuable at this point. I feel like that could also be useful with the right registration.
I got my boat and it's right here, right? Okay.
Right. The one thing we were worried about is everybody's going to see their situation as kind of worse than somebody else's, and so the more trained a response is, which is why we were interested in using neural networks for direct damage assessment, remove the human element further, but we just want to make sure we're getting high quality information to do the optimizations.
Yeah, my house is flooding, it's every 3 inches or 8 feet, right?
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, if you were to continue with this, you guys talked through how you might approach filtering the alerts in order to relevant people and
right. So
spamming and also
right. Obviously,
blah, blah, blah.
Not everybody has a fax. Not everybody wants emails. So in the registration, you should be able to choose how you receive your alerts and go back and.
Oh, sure. Sorry, but I mean, even in terms of, for example, that volunteers are broken up into teams.
Oh,
and
right. I understand what you're saying. So, ideally, we would want to use geolocation information to send targeted updates to people who are on the ground in that area. That's actually essentially why we asked people to put in their zip code. In a future iteration of this, we would ask people, or we would only target people who are near an optimization change to move, or to that a resource allocation improvement had been calculated. So there is, we do very much support that. The other thing that we support is this is already nationwide. We have all the data from all over the nation. We just used Alabama and Mississippi for demonstration purposes, but this is equally applicable everywhere a disaster may strike.
Sorry, I was filming and doing 6 things at once. What's the time frame on the real-time communication as far as lag or anything for?
So you saw the fields populate as soon as he made the call in the text. You saw people get the update almost as soon as we hit the update field. The only thing that takes a little bit longer is the actual simulated annealing process, but as long as that's on a central server, which it is, it's behind a custom API right now. As long as that's in a central server, it won't take more than, a couple of seconds. And then that allocation gets distributed to the people who, or the information about the allocation gets distributed to the people who need it, who need to make decisions, etc.
Thank you.
Perfect. Excellent. Thanks so much, guys. Very much.
Come on down then. Are you guys sorted now? So you'll be ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so you go on next, okay?
What? I think I need to be there at 9, so I guess the
Hey everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. A bunch of awesome projects coming up. I hope you guys think ours awesome as well. The name of our project is Inform Me. My team members are here. We have some more team members that are sitting out in the back. I'm just going to go straight into it. So the next slide. So what the project we are doing is a way of communicating with people that are near you. So something is going on nearby, you want to get the message out to as many people as you can that are near you that you may not possibly know. So it's based on some GPS calculations, or based on where you at, and some other things that I'm going to detail now. I'll save all the fun stuff for later. So I'll let my partner take over.
Okay, so how does it work? So we're trying to communicate here through a range. So in this way, we can communicate the text through creating a message. Then we specify the range that we want. If we want just the neighborhood, we want a bigger neighbor, the bigger part of the neighborhood to know. And we select a category. And then we are able to inform the things that we want. For example, we have the categories like emergency, suspicion, social, and advertising. Now, what is emergency? For example, if something really bad happens and you need to communicate that to everybody, then you use the emergency situation. In that case, most of the people which are able to receive the categories, for example, if you want to receive the emergency categories, then people will be able to know that you're in an emergency, receive the message, and be able to help or call whoever is necessary. The suspicion, for example, you see someone that is trying to get into a car, and then but you don't know if that's the person's car, right? So what you do is that you throw a suspicion. So therefore, everybody gets the message. The neighbors are able to know if that person is from that car or not, and they're able to react to see if that person should be in that car or not. And social, for example, you want to get into a gathering, but you're not able to get all the messages out, and you want to do it as soon as possible. So for example, for a barbecue, if you want to get everybody in the neighborhood around, then you send a social event. And for advertisement, for example, you are in a very small Kmart that you created for yourself, you work real hard on. And then, for example, you want people that are around to know that you have specials, that you are better than other places. So then you pass around, and you're able, in that area, in that range, you're able to send a special message. These are advertisements, which you can also opt out of. So if you don't want to be spammed by every single market, you can get out of it. So, go ahead.
So, who is this for? Well, it's for everyone. It's for the young, the old, the adults. If you're a young person and you want to go play soccer, you want to play basketball, and you don't want to go by yourself, or you don't want to make a whole Facebook event just to go play basketball, take out your phone. Going to go play basketball at the park. Everybody with a cell phone, they can get text message, get the message. You want to have a barbecue, you only want your neighborhood to come, you don't care about anyone else. Send a message out to the people that are nearby. Hey guys, I'm having a barbecue. Come help me out. If something happened to you and you need somebody to come change your light bulb, or you failed and you need somebody to help you up, you can hit the button. Hey, can someone come help me? So this app is for everyone.
And how big is it? So for example, this is for all businesses too. For the small business, you can notify what makes you special. For the medium business, you can notify what are your specials. And for the big business, you can create market events. These events can be notified for everybody.
All right, so we talked about this a lot. How about we give you guys a nice demonstration of how the app would work and look. So first thing is that you want to log in. You want to log in with your email address. So add something, and I put in my password and I sign in. Now, suppose I want to play League of Legends. I type in let's play League of Legends. And since this is a social event, I would hit social. And then everyone around will get that text message. So we all should be getting messages pretty soon.
Yeah.
But while we wait on that, for the sake of time, oh, and there go my text message. So for the sake of time, we would end our presentation here. Is there any questions?
Thank you.
Question. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you're saying, okay, you know, you're going to get people, you know, on your block to sign up for this, right? I mean, that's what you really want to do. Then you're going to invite merchants and everything like that. But it's a community. But you know, is it, you know, how do you make the geo boundaries around the community that you want to use it all?
So what happens is, it's not more of a, yes, we hope that it'll be used in community, but it's still based on some type of GPS. So the app has your latitude and longitude. That gets sent to a database. Once it goes to the database, the server picks up, oh, a new record came in. Right? Based on other users that are around that location, based off the radius that you preset, those people will get the message. So assuming you are doing events where you live at, then your community will be the one that you frequently talk to.
Thank you.
I heard.
I didn't catch what sponsor resources you used there.
That's the next slide. The last slide.
Oops.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Make sure, because people are watching video, live even, whatever, to repeat a question if somebody asks, because nobody can hear probably from the back. Different areas. Thank you.
He's yelling.
He was
yelling. He looks at me and you.
Open thing.
Okay.
Okay, ready. Good afternoon. Our project is called the ARMA by the guys in the shorts. So what are we addressing? We are a disaster relief system supply chain optimization problem. So I've personally seen the wrath of two of these natural calamities. I'm from India, so in 2004 I was in Chennai when the tsunami happened, and we could feel like the aftershock of the Gujarat earthquake. So we've been there, so we know what like the panic which sets in and stuff. So we wanted to build something which addresses the disasters, and we wanted to focus on like food distribution. We took our inspiration from the Netherlands food bank problem, and we built our problem, like we built our solution taking into those guidelines. So how did we do this? So we took an example of Florida. We created a simulated data set. We scraped all the possible public schools of Florida, and we set them as distribution centers because they're big and they're well equipped. And we created a safety stock optimization / load balancing system. And the parameters we chose, we created some of the parameters to simulate the most real situation as possible. We chose like the population distribution in counties. Then we clustered each population distribution into like a bigger chain. Like we had smaller nodes connected to distribution centers, and we clustered them by distance. And we had like days to food exhaustion. We said like amount of food is like 1 unit of food. What we said was like it's 3 meals for a particular person in a day. And then we looked at the storage capability of these centers. You know, like bigger storage, smaller storage. And we actually hand wrote and we found our own variable called the priority score, where we had to assign food to in the distribution centers. And we wanted to keep this simple as simple and stupid as possible. So how our framework worked, and we accepted the challenge. And how our framework worked was we used a really simple we used TADHsck to send messages about the area and the number of people in your household. And we used optimization, predictive analytics, and load balancing to distribute our resources in between our clusters, which will be going into detail next. And we use Faxio to actually send out instructions to distribution centers on what resources to allocate where.
Just so that you guys understand it, TADHsck is what we're using to get the input data set when this thing actually goes live. We can use that to actually get the real-time data to understand the real-time demand on a daily basis. People would just have to say the number of people in their household, and it would go into our backend, it would get into our database. But for today, we couldn't get that many data sets in one day. So for now, we use simulated data, but we have the infrastructure for TADHsck ready.
Yeah. So what we did was, after 8 cups of coffee, we ended up building this program. So the aspect ratio is a little bad. So what you can see here, this is the input data which goes in.
Every time you guys send a text message,
we can send a text message right now to the number we provide as soon as the presentation is over, and you can you have to send. I am from area code like area, set area, and my household number of people in my household, and it'll give instructions at the end of the day to the distribution centers. Please allot this much quantities of food from this particular center to this particular center. And
just to explain what we're addressing, next slide. This particular graph is supposed to be a heat maps of how bad there's scarcity in food.
In each food.
So this is before we process the data, and as you can see, there are a few red points which show that there is the exhaustions. It might happen in the next few days. So that we're trying to say before we processed our load, the data was looking bad, and there are a few distribution centers which might run into the risk of having no food at all soon. And we used optimization and we used our own algorithm to make sure the load is distributed even. And can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So so what happens is the instructions are sent to the distribution managers, who will say distribute food from this center to this center to make it even more balanced. And now we represent the same heat map with the updated load, and you can see the color red.
Days of exhaustion has increased here. They have more time, and the priority score also decreases.
Yeah.
And moving on to scope, so we wanted to use the TADHsck back to send out mass messages to people about where to go find food. we actually wanted to like optimize even the quantity of food being sent. Now we're sending in regular chunks, saying it was 1 free. But if you could optimize it to the extent of how many boxes you could send, it would be better and forecasted. We also implemented the fail-safe factors and the data set itself. Here's also the challenge, because we don't have the data sets for these kind of situations. We have to manufacture ourselves, and a real data set would give us better results. And we also wanted to include one thing we forgot, we didn't include because of the time frame in this particular challenge was transportation costs. And is it possible to transport? So we want to implement that in our next. So, thank you.
In closing, there's an email sent out to info@TADHack.com if you guys want to take a look at the report.
We have sent an email of like the program executed and it's sent distribution like instructions to the email at TADHack. And you can text one number we can hand out and it will keep updated.
Any questions, guys?
Your data set itself, you said you're going to use elementary schools?
Not elementary schools. So we collected the data of all the schools possible in Miami. And depending on the size of the schools, we also set up that the storage spaces also differs in the same way. If the school size is around, we can hold 1,000 people. We say the storage of the school, total storage capacity of the school is much higher. So we had to make that assumption.
Cool. Thank you.
That was great. Thanks, guys. So I think it's just 3 more to go. So over to AI Collab next. I think that's a nice one with facts. In an emergency situation where you've just got school, they're not going to do email. You just need a box list, a box list. That's a nice example.
Hi everyone, I'm Abhishek.
Harold, I'm Giorgio.
Are you guys ready? Yeah. Hi, I'm Abhishek. So I made a good platform for doctors to collaborate, and it is basically a surgery planning platform. These are my sponsors, the products that I've used. So why I'm doing it? So if you see for us developers, we have GitHub, but for doctors, there's no GitHub. They cannot send codes, they cannot send MRIs, they cannot talk to other guys. Okay, how did you craft such a difficult surgery? So that's the basic goal. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a GitHub for doctors. And why I'm doing it? So let's say there's a surgery of 8 hours. It requires, actually, I've mentioned the research paper as well, 16 hours of planning, which means like a bunch of doctors need to sit down on a table and need to talk how to go about the surgery. So I'm giving an online platform to talk to them remotely from anywhere, any part of the world. What it helps is, it helps the time optimization and reduce the waiting time of the surgeries. Secondly, it helps global and local collaboration. So let's say there's a doctor sitting in India, Europe, US, they can come together and they can share the experience about removing a tumor. What should be the path to cut the tumor? And so on. And since right now there's so many CRMs which are in healthcare industry, there's no one which talks to different CRMs, as well as they allow doctors to talk or have video discussions. So this is it. The business model, so first of all, there's no one in the communication of doctors around the world. Secondly, medical is an $18 trillion industry in the US, so it's a catchy thing to focus on. So if all the ACOs try to like get this product on their systems, it'll like huge amount of money. Second is, I'm using some deep learning and machine learning techniques to reduce the waiting time. How I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to club the surgeries. So let's say there's a patient A with cancer of some type is having a similarity with some other cancer of some other guy in India. Oh, they can say we can use the similar procedures, or we can use some similar ideas of surgery. Secondly, more surgeries means more patients means more revenue. And finally, it's like socially we are improving something. We are improving healthcare. So this is the basic architecture. I've shown like Salesforce and Salesforce. These are like CRMs I'm trying to identify. And there's MongoDB database of different hospitals. MongoDB basically is a different kind, like different hospitals can have different style of data structures. So I can like have a NoSQL database. Then there is AlloCap that my engine will be, which is powered by these sponsors, and I'm having a deep learning engine to identify, like, group the cancer cases around the world, or any surgeries, let's say. And then there are people, doctors across India, US, collaborating on the same engine. So it's the demo time, and like I set up some guys as a surgeon, Alan, Sachin, Alex is there, and another guy there. So I log in as Alan. He's a neurosurgeon. So okay, so he's a neurosurgeon, and like he's having a surgery of some guy, and there's a cancer in it. It is having a similarity with these two cases, and let's say there's a doctor sitting there. Okay, someone like being creative with. Okay, so I will join a call where Sachin is talking to Alex, and I forgot the name of the guy. Sorry, man. Josh. So these guys are online and they're talking about the surgery, and these are the four guys. They're talking live. Now I request Sachin to add something on the screen. So he's saying, okay, why don't you cut the tumor like this? And Alex will say, and Josh will say like this. So they can say, okay, they can miss the surgery. So what I was trying to do, which I was not able to achieve, is I want to have accelerator, and then it could be more informative. Later on, you can add a virtual reality here, where you could imagine a brain moving around in a 3D space, and oh, let's cut it like this, or let's cut it like this. So this could be a interface for doctors to, like a whiteboard for doctors, you could say. And
clearly from our drawings, we're not doctors.
So secondly, like you can oh, I missed something. Like, so here's a share button. I'm like trying to get, okay, this was a surgery performed some guy in India, so I can fax the details of the patient in US to that guy. And that's it. Okay, and I send the messages to these guys to come to the meeting, like using TADHack, and yeah, these are my sponsors. Thank you.
Excellent, well done. Good job. Any questions? I just told you I'm not operating. It's not purple. It's just been there too long. Okay. No, we have two more. Okay. Yeah, go on down, guys. Again, don't worry, just get yourself set up, make sure everything's working, and then start. So let us know when you're about to start. Okay.
All right, guys. My name is Prateek. This is my partner Yanni and Lucas. And today our sponsor that we're using is TADHsck. And so we just want to go through kind of the problem we tackled yesterday. We spent a lot of time trying to think about the problem, probably around half the day on the problem. And what we came up with is that we figured out that small businesses around Chicago are spending over $70 per month for at least one inbound line, and they require additional telephony hardware, such as VoIP phones and stuff like that. And we think that small businesses want to cut costs. They don't have extra revenue to spend on telephony hardware and a lot of these other costs. So we want to make it as simple as downloading an app. We all know that it's easy to download an app. And we also think that the barrier to start a new business is difficult with all these extra costs. So that's the problem we wanted to tackle. And so we came up with Project Sapphire Network. This name is from a random generator online, but it happened to work with our project. Powered by TADHsck. And so we looked at TADHsck and we really liked their idea of making be your own carrier. And so we kind of tried to bring that to small businesses. And so what we want to do is allow small businesses to manage inbound and outbound numbers through a mobile application without any additional hardware, so they wouldn't have to buy any of those extra phones. So how do we do this? So we created an app. We tried to create an app called Project Sapphire Network. The owner/manager would sign up, log in. They have a list of numbers they can choose from, which would be assigned to their business particularly, and they are able to add employees to their network, and so their employees are able to get the phone calls that people dial into that. And so we want to use existing infrastructure. If almost everybody has cell phones, we feel like we can utilize that. We should be able to utilize their cell phones and still be able to give employees the work-life balance that they need. So by dialing into a toll-free number that belongs to a business, it rings all employees that need to be alerted of a phone call during that time. Their app starts to ring, and so Yanni's going to go over value proposition.
So why does this help us? As you can see, it uses dynamic routing, which means that if the employee is at work, the phone will ring. Otherwise, it will not. So it will not alert them during their off time, like middle of the night, stuff like that. We're using, as Pratik said, we're using existing cell phone infrastructure, so that completely cuts out extra hardware that the small business owner needs to buy to get started. And it increases the chances of actually someone picking up instead of going to voicemail or getting that annoying message that says, please call back later. Another thing that's we feel it's very important is it's scalable, as in you can buy numbers with literally a click of a button, and you'll get 1, 2, 3, 40, 50 numbers if you need them to. And it has redundancy by failover through the PSN.
Yeah, so if they were out of Wi-Fi service, if an employee was outside the Wi-Fi service, or they were outside the cellular service, and we tried to attempt to call the employee through the app, we weren't able to reach them. We were able to use a PSN and try to dial out to their regular cell phone.
And we actually talked to a few businesses across the street and in Chinatown. Yesterday we went and interviewed them, and the most shocking, I guess, was a Korean beauty store in Chinatown pays $160 for 2 lines, and they estimated around 2 hours of monthly usage of those lines. So if we can cut down costs on that, that would be great. Another, across the street, a pizzeria called Miller's Pizza, they pay $90 for phone, internet, and TV. Another, most people use either AT&T or other carriers, but another thing that we found interesting was that they all use fax. So that's definitely something to look into.
Okay, that's it. Time's up. That's it. Thanks a lot, guys. Any questions?
It sounds as though that, so correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds as though that you're reducing costs by pushing that to your employees by using their data plan instead of the company.
Yeah. Well, it's using the application that the small business owner has signed up for. So we'd be sending out using the internet instead of using any sort of plans.
That's good.
Wi-Fi, basically. That's kind of the idea. So I guess we're out of time. We can go. Okay.
Did you have a demo of it?
Short demo. We didn't get very far, but
yeah, quick, go on. This is your penultimate. Now, Eclipse, we're going to do the presentation.
It's going to be real quick.
That's good. Really, the last one, being really quick.
So we get a simple UI for the app. Actually, this is a website now. So we get all the informations like numbers, stuffs, and this is a list of numbers we bought.
and we can add a phone number here and transfer the calls. Now we gotta log in for. Yeah, that's just yeah.
Great, excellent. Thanks so much, guys.
Set up on the, can I just show it from here? So I don't have a presentation trying to troubleshoot a lot of stuff, but
Yeah, turn around and speak to your crowd.
Well, she's just setting up.
She's just setting up.
So what we tried to do was.
Let me know when you're gonna start.
Okay, I'm starting right now.
Okay.
What we were trying to do was to kind of create an alternative for Facebook. Have a secure way for you to be able to connect with your friends and families and not be worried about your privacy. And the reason why I was attracted to it was the idea of cybersecurity and being able to secure that. But the more that we got into trying to tackle the project, the more we discovered that the minimal viable product was more minimal and less viable. So we kind of had to downgrade what we're doing, so it ended up getting down to just trying to do a messaging app and trying to secure it that way. But we ran into some problems. So what I'm going to demo is just going to be kind of a, I guess, the interface part of it. We tried to use Matrix, and it was just trying to be able to communicate and figure out how to do that when the reps weren't here. It was a little bit difficult. So this is just a video of what we have presentation on, and it's just the user interface. And this is just a sign up. He's just demonstrating bcrypt, which is one of the technologies that we use to kind of secure registration and logins for the users. I'm just trying to demonstrate the hash passwords that we're using for that. This is the page that we would normally have where we would actually kind of message each other. Once you get past the login, that's it. That was it. Questions? We had a lot of problems. If you want to know about problems, I can tell you about that.
Well, I think this is a great example of Matrix in enabling people to create private, secure communities. So I think it's a great use case for Matrix, so thanks for doing that. Any questions?
Yeah, I'd say, if you could roll back the clock, what, are there a couple takeaway points that you would do differently in approaching this, and has it changed your?
Yeah, a couple of the problems that we had was I work on Linux. Everyone else was working on Mac, so it was just trying to figure out the technologies that we could kind of communicate together with. We also had a member who knew PHP, so he kind of created that part of the project. But he wasn't here, and so my name is Tweet, and my other team members aren't here either. Mayuresh, Chantel, and Jasmine. So that was another part of trying to figure out how to do this when all the members are not present, to actually be able to communicate what's going on with this stuff.
So you need some sort of communication and video collab.
Like a real
We did a lot of stuff on GitHub.
Secure too.
So a video plugin for GitHub. Got it.
But yeah, it was definitely communicating. You have like different technologies where one person did PHP. I kind of knew JavaScript and Ruby and maybe a little of Java, but I didn't know PHP enough to be able to figure out his code that he was sending to me. And then, yeah, other team members do bits and pieces of stuff. So trying to get that all to come together was interesting.
So I'm just curious real quick. I didn't understand. Were you trying to use your own cryptography, or was that what Matrix was being used for, or how were you?
The cryptography part was just like a very, that didn't have anything to do with it. The main part was being able to use Matrix and being able to have a way to communicate and have that encrypted and not worry about like anybody listening.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so that's it. I think all the pictures are done. Have we missed anyone? Good. That's always that embarrassment when we say, we're done. And then somebody goes, wait. So what we're going to do now is the judges are going to head off. We're going to get the judging done, and then we'll come back. We'll announce the prizes. Remember, this is just for the local prizes. All the hacks you've done get entered into the global prize pot, and that will be announced Monday of next week, because next weekend we have lots of other hackathons. If you go to Twitter, you search TADHack, you will see all the activity that's been taking place all around the world. But just quickly, guys, what you did here was impressive. I think it was some really great hacks, great commercial potential, and I hope you can take some of them out into the real world and either basically make a difference socially or perhaps build business.
One quick thing. After the prizes are announced, obviously we're going to be dispersing. If you could try and clean up a little bit so some of us don't have to. So,
and if you borrowed equipment,
yeah, I know some of you did use some equipment. That's fine. Please put it back where you found it from and everything. Thank you. And eat the rest of the pizza so you don't have to throw it away.
So Josh, Howard, we're all going up upstairs. Rachel Ming.
Go on shelf and then I'll send it.
Also, Josh, sign it. You guys are going to go sign the poster.
Oh, sorry.
Go sign the poster.
Oh,
Sign the
yeah.
poster? Go sign the poster. What? Oh, I got you wouldn't know. Harold, come here.
Okay. All right.
He says that you're looking for TADHack consulting to go up and adjust stuff. I volunteer to be. It's your first one, go. I'm gonna hear that one.
Howard, Josh, you're going. You're going to this.
You guys go over sign the thing? So you for an alibi. So they said you burn many fragments. Right, but you're gonna sign this.
Trying to get a bunch of people together to build products, have them doing all different things. It sounds like you're an architect. That's what I do. Like, you did pretty well yourself. Like,
You're gonna sign this. Now you're here, you're gonna sign. When they put in the time capsule, they dig it up the top, years from now. You're gonna say, I know this.
Well, you get be better at it.
I heard about it. I heard about it yesterday. He did this one, and we got it fresh. So we had you ever sign? Well, go out there, go sign. I'll take pictures of everybody. I'm on it. Go sign.
I work. I work.
I don't think those are you.
Right in the middle of it's really hot. Yeah,
Last winter I was in San Diego. I don't know where.
So we can test all stuff to say.
Right now, they come back, they do the charger, and then they're gonna say like. Wow, they left me.
Yeah, that's crazy. But you're the trooper to take it all the way. Yeah. At least, you know, it's good to stick around just to see. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you might, you know, a lot of things you can take into consideration, but you know, souls presented and all that. Right, it's always a first.
We want to guys with shorts.
Right.
Guys with shorts, not working. Yeah, fast.
Yeah, it's just experience. I'm sure about that. Yeah.
My approach was.
It's remarkable and all these ideas and the way it's synergized. It's really good. It's the way things come to life, the intuition.
Are you a regular?
I do it in I'm a teacher here, so I'm a TADHsck teacher.
So you see,
For sure, I'm a job teacher pretty much. I get a lot of dads. Yeah, it's never grade schools. Are you already?
Look at it again.
Right, there's going to be so much that can Ideas are ideas too. But you were saying that you're trying to be brave. To learn PhD with the master's for PCN. Yeah, it's a shock. It's a shock because you don't know the basics of things, and especially what you do with the code. I was thinking I did software, but I only had to run it, so we put together logic and found yeah, well, I got the majority, you know, it's, I'm just coming back to use it. The main thing is that you got it. When he hits, yeah, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, thanks.
Did you guys travel to come to TADHack?
We'll see when we come back. If we start again. See how that goes. What?
I'm just trying to find out.
You have to, I use a little box, and it takes the camera and enables that to convert it here to this system, and then you use the software pretty much that also can send out the heads. So I loaded this Elgato on the Mac or Windows. I loaded their software, their interface, so it plugs in the hardware devices in there, and then the software works with that, and you connect to the YouTube channel, you can stream it. It took me an hour to refigure it out, but I got it. Better late than never. Well, that's a pretty good phone. It's a 4K camera, so it's expensive. Trying to get it close on your log, it's easy. Yeah, see, that was it. You were at towards the end there too, so. No, I overwrote last year. I told my probably not to. Yes, you're there. Yeah, it's cool. I like the industrials. They're important. I know. That's only too a lot. Some people say don't talk between the you tell people to repeat the question over everything. But it's good because sometimes the people nobody can hear. Because you know your kid they're watching the video, somebody's watching the video, you're watching like you're watching the video, and somebody's speaking a question, nobody hears it. And then the person answers, what was the question? That's hard, you know, because we can present and not present it all the time. You're in a rush to get things working. What was your idea? It's really an emergency. You're going to emergency. The doctors, the 4 doctors. I just hope I don't get ill for 4 doctors. That's some idea. So let's Google's doing a little bit. We're doing the machine learning, crunching everything, and they're doing that sort of analysis like that. Filtering the data. Yeah, it's where it's at. Learning, machine learning, more and more, and more people can pull in. Yeah. Pull in the interest and the logic there, and that's great. I'm putting the microphone closer to you. Yes, it will. I put the live. I don't know how many people actually pulled in. I had 26 views, probably on me. But yeah, you know what? The thing is that they will have the link for you because they filmed it here too. They had it on live, so. They will clean it up and then we'll put the links. I'm sure you'll see it. Probably be ready by tomorrow or something. It's probably in the school. A little over 4 years here. I'm teaching mostly programs. So your program is kind of longer. It's a lot. I have 150 students, sometimes I have up to 180 students. 50 sometimes. When the people who come there, we can get them those projects, those grading, teaching, driving here in the crazy preparing things, doing things. Teach a lot of different facets of language, object oriented. Yeah, you like go do yourself. Yeah. But like you said, you thought to try your own. These are abstract. And you try to sort of put the pieces together. Art is awesome. What are you specializing for? Who's your favorite artist? You're really famous and everything, right? You actually get your autograph. Oh my goodness. What's your name?
Did you come from Austin to come here? Did you come from Austin? Where you guys live around here?
A lot of it, a lot of it, a lot of it.
I just like show them there's no like text. This is like a chapter or something. This is showing fabric or showing artwork. It's artwork in a photo album sort of book. They have this display of but this is really interesting. Well, and now they're doing those checks and things with like they're doing more interior design patterns for wallpaper, things like that. So it's interesting. So, something that's unusual, plus something like the peel on, peel off, which is more of an artistic expression. I studied a little bit art. How long does it take you to bring marketing communication masters? So I did study some I studied the artist. My sister got into Mondrian yesterday at Barnes. And I loved his design. I like to study the artist. So architecturally rich is a means. Architecture, the artist. So you have a very fun to it. Chicago is but really a rich in architecture. That's for sure. Very rich in architecture. Studies in architecture. And then you have it's a
Two seasons. One is the brown season, and one is the green season.
Oh boy.
But the brown season is pretty much
doesn't rain Southern California to sun that much. It's crazy, all these hurricanes. Very unseasonably hot, yeah, because usually this August weather, we're having it in September, so it is a little bit of a Yeah, it's a little bit, it's a record temperature right now, so usually it's around probably late seventies, or something, sometimes 60s. But yeah, it's usually, it's kind of muggy and humid at this time. Temperature here is so much. Summer comes and it seems like it's less forever, and all of a sudden it goes, can't believe we're falling. I think it was pretty good all summer. I mean, I don't think we had something that was very bad. Yeah, it wasn't very bad, I think. So that's the cool part. I think we were pretty good, yeah. Yeah, we should be coming out of the event. I gotta pack up soon. It's crazy traffic over here. Oh, even on Sunday, like, come on. You need a whole new expressway, this skyway, this highway, you need an underground lane, we need so much infrastructure, there's too many cars. Is it worse? No, we have the worst. They do say we have the biggest shop. How you did this? Never through my life. I would question it. I know. A little bit, 3 days. We're trying to capture the world, actually. We do have great history. Interesting, like you said, I think the Four Seasons is really beautiful. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, let's go to California, but now, yeah, you get used to it. Yeah, you like the fall. The leaves, beauty of the atmosphere, breathing is really nice. Good clean air. I mean, LA is definitely be up there at all. You know that. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's loud.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah. And mattress, yeah, and one day I heard that one of the expressways, when the mattress hit somebody on the stage, we talk all about this technology. We always take down the increasing wires to test so many things. And you don't know sometimes. You always got to do what ifs, and you think, what ifs and all this. Does this work? I got a backup computer. This doesn't work. I got a backup camera. You know what I mean? The wires, everything's important. Everything is important. So. You got HP.
I killed the other judges, and so we'll be ready in just a minute.
Are we still live streaming?
Yeah, it's fine.
I paused the live stream for now, but he's probably still on.
Well, yeah, I'm just recording here. It's YouTube, it's that kind of story,
Yeah.
so I don't get it.
It looks like that overrode last year. I don't know if we could patch it again.
Oh, well, we have the copy.
I wonder if we could, yeah, copy it over.
Yes, it's probably just going to take everything.
Yeah, I was trying to look at the technologies. Put the server, can't put the server, blur off, and I ran it right off the software.
Okay.
Yeah, the other guy.
Tom, you have to tell me.
The winner is.
Most of them are so hard.
Sunday, I'm like, you gotta be kidding.
Right now.
Yeah, no, that's.
So Alan, you can have the winners come back at 6 o'clock, is that right?
We were saying 9?
Okay, I thought it was 9.
Then I thought.
Now, before we announce the winners, there is. It's always a bit worrying when the judges are arguing.
We have other shirts too.
Oh, of course she's going to win. There's something that you learn early in the marriage. Yes, dear.
And, yeah, but you gotta mix them up, can't just do them all. Don't look at your phone, make sure you can look, put it in the front of the
Giant checks that we're gonna.
No giant checks, it's just lots of photos.
Lots of photos.
And fireworks.
Well, there were fireworks going on earlier though. The game was starting.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Okay, so one request of the winners that get announced is let me know whether you'll be able to come on Tuesday to the conference. Now, what time is it? I can't remember when I'm on. Is it 11?
Yeah, you're on the 11th and 12th.
Okay, so it'll be.
No, meeting's afternoon.
Let me double check.
Double check.
Okay, the guys are
I
gonna.
just got it.
Yeah, but if you would let me know whether you'd be able to give your pitch at the real-time communications conference that's just up in
Herman Hall, just over there, about 2 blocks.
It's that 33rd in state instead of 35th in state.
So it's very close by, and we hope we'll get the time to you. But it'd just be sort of pop in for about sort of an hour, give your pitch. It's a very interesting conference. Alex will be there giving workshops tomorrow and then running a whole stream at the event. A lot of interesting people, both on the entrepreneur side, but also in big corporations. So it's a great opportunity to pitch your idea in front of people with deep pockets or the connections to help you turn your ideas into reality. Okay, so that's just to push that. So what I'm going to do now is
Alan, just real quick, it's 3 to 4. You're
On Tuesday.
3 till 4. Oh, 3 till 4.
3 to 4.
Okay.
So
if you can
Tuesday
make,
afternoon.
so it's just leave work early. You know, what can I say?
McCormick Ballroom West.
We'll send you the details. You'll get all the details.
And you can stay for the entire conference for free because you'll be considered a speaker.
Oh, well, that's even better. So that's free meals. And when are the drinks?
The drinks
Tuesday night,
are
Wednesday.
Tuesday night and Wednesday night from 5:30 to 6:30. We got Party in the Bog on Tuesday and Party in the Gallery on Wednesday. So you should actually, we'll give them the link to the conference. It's really amazing conference this year. We have really superb, interesting stuff. I'm going to try to divide myself into 3 parts and be in all 3 tracks all the time, as well as with the speakers like the 3 to 4 where.
And you have 3 to 4. You have access to the 2 exciting tutorials that are going on tomorrow, 9 to noon, and 1 to 4. Take a look at those.
So if you have the time, there's access to the full conference as well, plus free drinks, free meals. What more could you ask for? Okay, right. So I'm just, in the UK, the word bog is a reference to the toilet. So when you say we're going to go drinking in the bog, I'm sorry.
It is kind of like that.
Okay, all right, but the bog here at the hub, which which is where Herman Hall is. It's called the Hub. So in the bog, you have to go downstairs, and you look like you're going somewhere like a cave, and you wind up in it's the student hangout. So it's a lot of fun, and there's a bar there, and there'll be pizza and stuff like that.
But every time Carol says bar, I think toilet. Anyway, moving on. Faxio, Howard, Josh, come on down and announce your winners.
Did you say you want us to have everybody stand up first, or just?
Yeah, announce them, have them come down, and we're going to take pictures with your winners.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Cool. So, we have two prizes. The runner-up, a cash prize of $200 is Irma by these guys in shorts. And our grand,
we have to do photos. It's a Kodak moment.
Our grand prize winner for $800 is Virgil.
In here.
That's it. Stand together. Come on.
Over there, yeah.
Look pretty.
Act like you're fine.
That's it. Hang a sec. For some reason, it's going cross. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. And one more. And we are. My machine is playing up. As always, I apologize. We'll use somebody else.
Hey, fireworks!
There's no fireworks.
You guys were welcome.
That's it. Great. Thanks so much, guys. I got one. One down there. So great. Thanks so much. Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Hi. So we're Telmex. I think most of you know Mingus. So we had a grand prize for teams that used our product, our API. We decided in the end to split it up between 3 teams that used it because we were impressed with all 3 performances. Are we supposed to have all 3 teams come up and
announce it? Yes, exactly. You have to announce them and
Okay.
the money they won, and then we'll do a big group hug, okay?
Gotcha. So the first, the $150 to Virgil. And then $350 to AI Collab. And then, putting $500 to Sapphire Network, which means we have a lot of expectations for them, you know. And for the people involved, if afterwards, if you have a minute or two, we'd love to get some quick feedback from you guys about our API. And whatnot.
Squeeze up, shove up that way a little bit. Perfect. That's it. Thanks so much, guys. You're done. Thanks again. Okay. And over to you, Karen.
Okay, so the Chicago Local Prize, we had a hard time figuring out, and we had to collaborate, talk in secret. So Irma, $300. Yay. AI Collab, $350. And Virgil, $350. Yep, yeah.
Perfect.
You got us? Okay.
You got it.
All right. I need to talk to you.
Great. Well, again, thanks so much to everyone who came. Excellent hacks. I was really impressed. I know it's hard. There's a lot of frustration when your teams are there and disappear, and having to pick up new skills in a matter of hours in putting these hacks together. But again, thanks so much for taking the time. Keep an eye open. Next weekend, we've got more hacks taking place all around the world. Then on Monday, the 2nd of October, we will be announcing the global winners. Okay, so all these hacks get entered into for the $11,000 global prize pot, and that gets announced on Monday the 2nd. So thanks again. Thanks to Carol, Tom, Warren, for all your help and support in making this happen. Okay, thank you so much, guys. And for the winners, please see me before you leave. Otherwise, I'm going to be emailing you this evening to let me know whether or not you can make it for free drinks, free food for several days. How long does the event run? Monday, Tuesday?
Through noon on Thursday. So starting Monday morning through noon on Thursday.
So there you go, 3.5 days of free food.
And there's actually flyers up at the registration desk. So
for more
you can
details.
Yeah, you can get the link and you can go see everything about it. You can see all the speakers, you can see the program, you can see what days you want to go there, you know, so it's all there.
Perfect, excellent. If you've got any other questions, just see us before you head off. Otherwise, safe travels, and I hope to see you next year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I suppose.
You're all done? Anything else you need to say? Oh,
Anybody who wants to stay and help us clean up?
Oh, yes. If you got, the
Or
opportunity.
if you could just at least clean up after yourselves before you leave, that would really be helpful.
Yeah, I think that is fine.
We've still on.
Oh, okay.
What size do you want? I have one size. So, okay, let me. I think there's. All right, guys.
Melanie. Hey, nice to see you. Great. You just finished up.
Put them on there.
Let you guys go to school for about 2 or 3 minutes, but everybody's dispersing. That's okay. I wasn't going to give you a ton of time, but a little bit. I didn't promise. You know, I mean, ordered what five lines, and everybody also kind of small, but we had ice cream. That's how universities work.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, you're not that far away already. Medium? Right. Yeah. All right. Medium? Yeah. Oh, we appreciate you mentioning us. Yeah. Well, I guess. Yeah, so this is a global event. This is one of about 25 that is happening in parallel around the world. Yes. So there were a couple in South America, a couple in Africa, several in Europe, Sri Lanka, Pune, and around the world, all around the world. Yeah, you can hand them out. And I've got to get a couple of these people real quick because we're going to put them on stage again next day at another event. So. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, see you.
Anybody else want one?
Well, at least, I mean, it's not. You should have made a decision by now.
Originally it happened, I don't think
Even better.
But he's pretty, once you're in the program, you're like what he needs to do is everything moves like so it's, I guess it's just some ground. See again?
The presentation now, so I want to do it.
I'm trying. Actually, it was retweeting some good stuff. I know, because my chemistry was more. I'm like, we're going to get the numbers up. We're not going to get to double figures. And it's all going to be available on all the time. I'm just this weekend we have another tennis over running next weekend. Normally do it on one weekend or on both. Oh yeah. No, really from the other. So no.
Then we're done. So
It's like I fly in, I do the stuff, and then you gotta get back. Look, let's go.
now you're here.
Oh, yeah, but now we've got our get us scheduled.
On Tuesday.
Absolutely.
It's like a create a demo on the video.
you guys want food on the way out? Take it with you. It's going to be thrown away otherwise.
Did you get the picture that you guys took when we went out on stage?
What's that?
Did we could get the picture that you guys took when we went out on stage?
A picture of what?
I think when we went out on stage, like a bunch of pictures was like. There's a picture.
There's a bunch of pictures, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll all be available to you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get you pictures.
No, nothing like that. No sleep. Hey, Telsa, bro. Okay, late ago, at least 1 घंटा 1 घंटे को मर पाया था. No cracker there. Solid 7 hours.
We're trying to figure out, like, do we want to, like, we like the teams where We have to fight through all this. Yeah.
So friends had
I know. But again, it's one when they don't exist.
No, yeah. But I think that's part of it. It's also like Slack.
Yes.
So,
We didn't have
yeah, so we've done that because a lot of people like that get offering services. So we've done that and we're fine.
No, I have an office down the road for a school. And I knew this was going on, so I wanted to stop in here today.
The other trend is what interesting.
Did you have a Yeah, do you have a card? Somewhere here I can, I got one. I got this.
Most of you doing, David.
You're a professor.
Yeah, some of the network.
Oh, okay, cool. Neat. Okay, so.
I'm curious to see
We'll see.
Yeah, because everybody knows that. Yes, can have them on both sides. He's trying to like but also play for.
Well, yeah, he has a translation 3 seconds. So he has a
Because I have events for my students.
Oh, yeah. But that was scaled quite nicely.
Oh, good. We have that. And, we have this. Okay. Well, why? I'll definitely be in touch. The other thing I do, another thing I do too is I have a radio broadcast of Bridgeport. Where I only talk about technology. And it's like a public audience, so it's a very interesting place to be because most of the time, something like Tech Week, they are downtown, they are, you're paid to exhibit, exhibit. It's like an expo. This is like more of a citywide type of thing, where we have a calendar and events take place all over the city and venues. We had 12 venues donated space this month for people to do events for free, all over the city. So I just need to try to get the word out a little bit more. I'd like to work with IIT a lot, but, and I I've been told I will see you tomorrow. Come here and I'll give you
Just check. Let me just put these back.
That's a little like a